A very good evening. This is the weekend edition of Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news tonight, I am Mariam Ganavijaya. Well, as families across the globe come together to celebrate, we'd like to take a moment to wish all of you a very happy Easter. And as always, we now start our bulletin with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Presidential Commission of Inquiry report on Easter Sunday attacks handed over to CID by presidential order.
සංගවලා තිබුණු ලේඛන අපි බලයට පත් නොවෙන්න තාමත් ඒ ලේඛන සංගවලා තිබෙන්නේ අපේ සියල්ල අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට යොමු කරා.
Special CID team appointed to investigate Easter Sunday attacks. Catholic Bishops' Conference praises government's investigations into Easter Sunday attacks. Government's systematic Easter Sunday attacks investigation is a positive step. Statement from Archdiocese of Colombo. Relief services for Sri Dalada Vandana pilgrims to be expanded.
ජීවමාන බුදුන්ගේ ස්පර්ශය වන්දනා කරා සමානයි.
දවස් 3ක පොලිමේ ඉඳන් තමයි බැලුවේ. හරිම සතුටුයි.
Sri Lanka Transport Board generates 1.3 billion rupees during festive season. Bangladesh seeks Interpol red notice for ex-PM Sheikh Hasina.
Well, today is Easter Sunday. The day commemorates the resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ. Easter commemorates the resurrection of Jesus Christ. According to Christian belief, Jesus willingly gave his life on the cross to save humankind from sin. His resurrection on this day is seen as a divine victory over death, offering believers the promise of eternal life. This sacred commemoration comes at the end of the 40-day Lenten season, a period of reflection, prayer, and spiritual preparation. Throughout Lent, Christians remember the suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ through acts of devotion, fasting, and charity. The Holy Bible recounts that Jesus Christ, crucified on Mount Calvary in Jerusalem, rose from the dead and appeared to his followers on the third day after his crucifixion, which is typically understood to be a Sunday. Meanwhile, Pope Francis made a brief appearance to bless crowds gathered to celebrate Easter Sunday at the Vatican. It is his first significant public appearance since he left hospital, where he was treated for double pneumonia.
Benedicat vos, omnipotens Deus, Pater, et Filius, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Pope Francis appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican to offer an Easter Sunday blessing. He did not deliver his Easter address as he is still recovering from double pneumonia. In his address, which was read out by a clergy member, the Pope urged a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. He said, and I quote, "There can be no peace without freedom of religion, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and respect for the views of others."
A quelli che ricevono la sua benedizione a mezzo della radio, della televisione.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit stressed that dictatorship brings misery to humanity. He expressed these powerful words during the Easter Sunday Mass held yesterday at the Cathedral of St. Lucia in Cartagena. A special Easter service was held at the Cathedral of St. Lucia in Cartagena, led by Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit.
Many years ago, when Joseph Stalin was ruling Russia, he asked the question, how many legions does the Pope have? He thought that the Pope is going to conquer the world with his legions and that the church is a worldly reality. He was completely mistaken. But he was one who killed more than 60 million of his own people during his reign, an absolute dictator. Simultaneously, we had in Germany Adolf Hitler, another terrible man, who gassed 6 million Jews and dissidents in his famous killing fields, the gas chambers of Germany. Number of years before, we had another one like that in Pol Pot, who murdered millions of his fellow citizens in the killing fields of Cambodia. Many such evil people have appeared in this planet. What did they want to do? They wanted to become conquerors of the whole world, and they thought that they could live forever. In fact, Hitler was looking for a formula to extend his life. He never could find such a formula. Why did they want to live long? Because they wanted to dominate. The inclination of man to dominate life is tremendous. Carl Gustav Jung, a famous psychoanalyst, calls this inclination the basic inclination in human nature. It is because the devil has got hold of all these people. Jesus Christ never doubted that the devil was a force among us in the human life. Pope Francis, in this beautiful apostolic exhortation on holiness, calls Satan a real power. Why do you find all these human beings destroying and killing each other for the sake of power? We had it even in our own country. Power to dominate others. It's a tremendous thing. Once you sit in the seats of power, you forget that you are just like any other human being. There's no difference whatsoever. But these authorities forget about it. That is why they bring misery to humanity.
The Easter Sunday Holy Mass, broadcast by Sirasa TV, was telecast from St. Jude's Church in Sidua.
To you who receive the Blessed Sacrament, He will never abandon you. You may ask, Father, on this Easter Sunday, we remember the attacks and the lives lost. Those innocent souls have already entered heaven from the holiest place they could be. They are not merely victims, they are martyrs who offered their holy blood before God. So do not fear. Though 6 years have passed since that tragedy, as we celebrate life today, the Lord hears our cries. He listens to our pleas. He will renew your strength and give you new life.
An Easter Mass was also held at St. Sebastian's Church in Katana, Negombo. Following the service, the faithful participated in a procession carrying the statue of the resurrected Christ. An Easter Mass was held at St. Anthony's Church in Wappegama, Kandy. It was followed by a solemn remembrance ceremony led by the Kandy Christian Council, honouring those who lost their lives in the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks.
අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ඊළඟ පාස්කු සැමරුමට පෙර
We sincerely hope that before next Easter, those responsible for the Easter Sunday attacks will be brought before the law and held accountable. On behalf of the families of the victims, we urge the government, especially the new president and his administration, to ensure that justice is served.
අපි විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ නව ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඇතුළු මේ රජයෙන් විශේෂයෙන්ම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
Easter services were held across Sri Lanka, including at the Cathedral of Christ the Living Saviour in Colombo. The service was led by Bishop of Colombo, Right Reverend Dushanta Rodrigo. A service was also held at the Zion Church in Batticaloa. Tomorrow marks 6 years since the Easter Sunday attacks that shook the nation on the 21st of April 2019. A total of 272 lives were lost in the coordinated attacks, which targeted several major churches and hotels across Sri Lanka. More than 500 others were injured, their lives forever changed by the violence that morning. In remembrance of the victims of the Easter Sunday attacks, the Catholic Church in Sri Lanka has requested the people to observe 2 minutes of silence tomorrow from 8:45 a.m. to 8:47 a.m.
The commemoration service will begin at 8:30 a.m. at St. Anthony's Shrine in Kochikade. We've prepared this ceremony together with families of those directly affected by the attacks. A nationwide 2-minute silence will be observed at 8:45 a.m. and we call on every citizen to pause in memory of the victims. At 8:45 a.m. bells will ring not only in our churches but also in places of worship of other faiths. This is not just a Christian remembrance but a shared moment of reflection for all Sri Lankans. A service will take place at St. Sebastian's Church in Katuapitiya beginning at 8:15 a.m. At 5:30 p.m. a special evening service will also be held at the same church.
A significant and solemn declaration is expected during the evening service. For the first time, a decree will be announced recognizing the devotees who died inside the churches during the Easter Sunday attacks as heroes of faith or witnesses of faith. Spokesperson for the Archdiocese of Colombo, Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando, said that the systematic investigation into the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks under the current government is a positive development.
No investigation was carried out during the past 5 years. In particular, around November 2019, the administration of Gotabaya Rajapaksa reshuffled the committee, dismantling the investigation process and disrupting its progress. Since then, no further investigations took place. However, since the current administration came into power, the investigations have recommenced in a systematic manner. We would like to express our full support to the government and the investigative committees. We urge the Attorney General to approach this process with impartiality and commitment. We sincerely hope that the truth and the masterminds behind these events will be brought to justice. We believe the government has the ability to uncover the truth and bring it to light.
The full report from the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks has been officially handed over to the Criminal Investigation Department. Secretary to the President, Nandika Sanat Kumar Naika, handed over the report to the CID based on the directive of President Anura Kumara Dissanayake. Now, speaking at a rally in Polonnaruwa today, the President stressed that his government is committed to uncovering the truth and bringing justice to the victims of the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks. The rally, organized by the National People's Power, was held under the patronage of President Anura Kumara Dissanayaka.
අද පාස්කු ඉරිදා 2019 පාස්කු ඉරිදා තමයි බලය ලබා ගැනීම අරමුණින් විශාලම ඛේදවාචකයක් සිද්ධ වුණේ.
Easter Sunday 2019, a day we will never forget. The single biggest tragedy this country has faced in recent times. It was an attack meant to take power through fear and chaos. For more than 5.5 years after that terrible day, the truth was buried. The real masterminds were protected, hidden behind politics and power. Neither the government in place at the time of the attacks, nor the one that came in afterward, truly wanted to find those responsible. They had no intention of revealing who was really behind it all. Now, 6 years later, we've been in office just 6 months, and in that time, we've taken clear, careful steps to correct the wrongs of the past. Yes, a report was released by the Presidential Commission, but parts of it were kept hidden. Today, that changes. This morning I sent the full set of documents, everything, including what was hidden to the CID. If we hadn't come into power, they would still be locked away. But now, nothing is being kept in the dark. The report contains specific recommendations. We've told the authorities, don't ignore them, follow through. And yes, there are still many unanswered questions. Who left a jacket at the Vavunathivu crime scene where 2 police officers were killed? Who used certain IMEI numbers connected to suspicious phone activity? These details matter. We are working to uncover the full story. We've taken on the responsibility of finding the truth for the victims, for their families, and for all Sri Lankans who deserve answers. We will not stop until justice is done.
මේ රටේ ජනතාවට පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයේ සැබෑ වග උත්තරකරුවන් එළිදරව් කිරීමේ වගකීම අපි බාර අරගෙන තියෙන එක අපි කරන්න ඕන.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry was originally appointed on the 22nd of September 2019 by then President Maithripala Sirisena to investigate the Easter Sunday attacks on the 21st of April 2019. Chaired by the Supreme Court Justice Janak De Silva, the commission included 6 members. The final report was submitted to then President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on the 1st of February 2021, but it was never made fully public. The current government has pledged to release the complete report in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, the CID has formed a special investigation team dedicated to acting on the Commission's findings with full independence and the backing of the President.
Issuing a message to mark Easter Sunday, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Sri Lanka acknowledged that the current government has taken certain positive steps to ensure an independent and impartial inquiry into the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks. The statement noted that the efforts undertaken so far are appreciated and insist that as a matter of urgency and justice, the final aim of the inquiry should be to ascertain who the perpetrators are and those who have aided and abetted in the dastardly act.
A special service commemorating the 6th anniversary of the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks will be broadcast live tomorrow at 8:40 a.m. on Sirasa TV. You can also watch the service live on Newsfirst YouTube channels.
Newsfirst with the people.
Dalada Vandana, or the sacred veneration of the tooth relic of the Lord Buddha, revered as the most precious and holy exposition by millions of Buddhists around the world, continued for the 3rd consecutive day today. After a hiatus of 16 years, this rare and sanctified opportunity to pay homage to the sacred tooth relic was made possible at the request of President Anura Kumara Dissanayaka. The Dalada Vandana is being held under the patronage of Chief Prelates of the Malwathu and Askiri chapters and the directives of the Diyavadana Nilame of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic in Kandy. The Dalada Vandana, which commenced on the 18th of April, will continue for 10 days until the 27th of April. Over the past few days, hundreds of thousands of pilgrims have made their way to Kandy. Today too, vast crowds gathered at the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic, undeterred by weather and driven by unwavering faith and devotion. Among the many pilgrims was Venerable Dhammasugata Thera, a Nepali national who travelled all the way from Nepal to pay homage to the Sacred Tooth Relic.
We came from Nepal travelling a long distance just to venerate the sacred tooth relic of the Lord Buddha. It is a blessing to be in such a noble land. Those born in Sri Lanka are truly fortunate. I encourage all to come, offer their veneration and accumulate merit. May the triple gem bless you.
Venerable Tripura Ratanadeepa Thera arrived in Kandy all the way from India.
I feel deeply honoured to have seen and paid homage to the sacred tooth relic. I share the merit of this sacred experience with all beings.
ගොඩාක් ජනතාවට සද්ධාව කොට නැගෙන බුද්ධ ධම්ම සංඝ ත්‍රිවිධරත්න පිළිබඳව කියන එකයි මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ.
මේ තප්පරේ මරණයට මත්තරත් කමක් නැහැ කියලා හිතනවා. ඉතින් ජීවමාන බුදුන්ගෙන් බණ පදයක් ඇහුවා සමානව ජීවමාන බුදුන්ගේ ස්පර්ශය වන්දනා කරා සමානයි.
දවස් 3ක පොලිමේ ඉඳන් තමයි බැලුවේ. අනිව සතුටුයි.
කියලා නිම කරන්න බෑ අපිට සතුටුයි. ඉතින් කැම බීමද හැමදේම අපිට ලැබුණා. ඒකට අපි ගොඩාක් පින් දෙනවා.
අපිට හොඳට තේරුමක් තියෙනවා ඒසක බලන්න හම්බෙච්ච ගැන ගොඩාක් පින් සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
ආශාවට ඇද්දකින් කඳුළුත් ආවා.
People from all religious backgrounds gathered to offer alms, refreshments and services to the Buddhist pilgrims who had come to Kandy with the pure intention of venerating the sacred relic. Members of the Triforces and other security services played a vital role by providing water, meals and support facilities for the devotees. Devotees also expressed deep appreciation for the efforts of civil society organizations, religious institutions and volunteers who came forward with compassion and commitment to serve those participating in the Dalada Vandana.
කෑම බීම වතුර ඔක්කොම අංග සම්පූර්ණ බොහොම සංවිධාන කටයුතු සාර්ථකව තියෙනවා. හරිම හොඳයි. බුදුන්ගේ පිහිට ලැබේවා.
බීම ජාති හම්බුණා, අයිස්ක්‍රීම් හම්බුණා, හැමදේම හම්බුණා. ඒ යන්නේ බුදුන් සරණයි අපිට වැඳගත්ත හැටි. කෑම බීම අඩුපාඩුව නැතේ තේ එක ඉඳන් හම්බ වුණා.
සහයෝගය දක්වන්නට වැඩියෙන් ලැබෙන්න කියලා මම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
The elderly and physically challenged were also seen among crowds making their way to the temple. Many of them were assisted by police officers and military personnel. Following special pujas and offerings at the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic, the veneration of the Sacred Tooth Relic commenced at 12 noon and concluded at 5:30 p.m. The Dalada Vandana will continue tomorrow from 12 noon to 5:30 p.m. As the faithful continue to line up through the night in hopes of paying homage to the Sacred Tooth Relic, Bansal stalls remain active for devotees.
ලොකු පින්කමක් වතුර පොදක් හරි දෙනවා නම් ඒක බොහොම වටිනවා. අපි මේ දවස් 10 නෙමෙයි අපි හිතනවා දවස් 12ක් 14ක් විතර මේ ප්‍රදර්ශනය කරත් ඒ තාක්කල් අපි ඉවරයක් නැතුව අඛණ්ඩව මේ දන්සල දීගෙන යනවා. මහා පින්කමක් හැටියට මේක සතුටු වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ගොඩාක් සතුටු වෙන්න පුළුවන් පින්කමක්.
The Sri Lanka Transport Board said that it has generated approximately 1.3 billion rupees in revenue during the festive season.
අද දිනෙත් මගේ ජනතාවට
The Sri Lanka Transport Board has made the necessary arrangements and deployed buses today to ensure that passengers can travel without any inconvenience. From the 10th to the 21st, under Phase 2 of the special bus service, Sri Lanka Transport Board has been able to generate a daily income of around 200 million rupees.
දෛනික ආදායම මිලියන 200 හා ඊට ආසන්න දක්වා දෛනික ආදායම් උපයා ගැනීමට ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සමත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
මේ කෙටි කාලය තුල කොපමණ ආදායමක් ලබාගෙන තියෙනවද මේ වෙනකොට?
10 වෙනිදා සිට 19 වෙනිදා දක්වා වන විට
Between the 10th and the 19th, we have generated nearly 1.3 billion in revenue. We are confident that with strong earnings today and tomorrow, we can continue to achieve peak income levels throughout the festive season.
උපරිම ආදායමක් තවදුරටත් ලබා ගැනීම හැකි වෙනු බවට විශ්වාසය තියෙනවා.
මේ ඇවිල්ලා රංගමලපු වැඩිම ආදායමද මොකක්ද අත්තර මේකේ තියෙන විශේෂත්වය?
මෙවර විශේෂත්වය
What makes this significant is that the Sri Lanka Transport Board deployed buses for the convenience of passengers while maintaining the standard fare. At no point did we charge extra for any reason. We can confirm that this is the largest revenue generated during a recent festive season.
ලැබපු විශාලම ආදායම මේ වන විට බවට අපිට තහවුරු වෙමින් පවතිනවා.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that the transformative journey initiated by the current government is firmly underway and cannot be reversed.
A rally was organised by the National People's Power in Irattay Periyakulam, Vavuniya in the lead up to the local government elections. The rally was held under the patronage of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya.
2024 මේ රටේ පුරවැසියන් ඉතාමත්ම තීරණාත්මක ඓතිහාසික ගමනක් ආරම්භ කරා.
In 2024, the people of this country embarked on a decisive and historic journey, one that reshaped the very foundation of national leadership. Through that journey, we transformed the highest levels of power. We now have a president who is a brother to the people, and soon after, we cleaned the parliament. But this is only the beginning. It has been 5 months since the parliamentary election and 6 months since the presidential election, and we have much more to accomplish. The next critical milestone in this journey is the local government election on the 6th of May. You have cleaned the top. Now the opportunity has come to clean the grassroots, our villages.
ඔබ උඩ සුද්ධ කරා දැන් ගම සුද්ධ කරන්න අවස්ථාව ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා.
We are just a few weeks away from the 2025 local government election. And as we approach the election, we bring to you this edition of Before the Ballot. Let's take a look.
Before the Ballot.
It could be Pillayan, it could be Karunaman, both were once in parliament. They gave up terrorism and joined democratic politics. But now the police say one thing and the minister says another. So who's telling the truth? Is it the police or the minister? The sad part is Pillayan left behind the LTTE, joined the tri-forces and fought to free all communities, Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, Burghers. And what did he get in return? Prison. If he stayed with the LTTE, run away abroad and asked for asylum, today he might be seen as a hero among Tamils, even among LTTE supporters. But instead, he fought to protect this country, and now our own government calls him a murderer. Ever since Pillayan was taken in, things have blown up. Like someone kicked a hornet's nest. Even Ranil Wickramasinghe looks nervous. Why? Because now everyone's scared. Ranil, Mahinda, Gammanpila, and who is Pillayan? A man who did their dirty work. Now they're afraid he'll talk. He's been interrogated for 3 months every single day. Eventually he'll say something, and if Ranil gave him any orders, those might come out. Same with Mahinda. Now they are trying to say the law is equal for all. But guess who Gammanpila hired as a lawyer? Himself. He's never even argued a case before. Just like Namal, imagine Pillayan's case could be Gammanpila's first time speaking in court. What a joke. They are not trying to release Pillayan because they care about him. They are just scared he'll expose their secrets. That's the truth. So what does that mean? All these people are in it together. They are scared of this government. Do they want to bring it down? Of course. But will we let that happen? No. We need to protect this country. And on the 6th, at the local elections, we need to show we are with the compass.
මේ දවස්වල ලොකු කතාවක් කියන අනුර කුමාර දිසානායක ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ කවුන්සිල් එක ගන්නම් ඇස් වහලා.
There's been a lot of talk about President Anura Kumar Disanayake. He can blindly pass funds in his council. But if something like that happened in another party, they would call them thieves right away. It's really disappointing to hear a president talk like this. Around 70,000 people are contesting in the election. Say 7,000 are from your party. That's just 10%. Are you calling the other 90% thieves? Don't talk about the people of this country like that. Most people here are honest. Sure, there might be a few wrongdoers. We admit that and will fully support you to catch them. But don't label everyone as corrupt. Know your power and don't use it to scare people.
ඔබතුමාගේ බලය අහිතු ලෙස පාවිච්චි කරන්න තර්ජනය කරන්න එපා.
මුදල් පාලන හැකියාව හොඳ දැක්මක් තියෙන.
We need to put our trust in people who know how to manage money, have a clear vision and can actually get things done. The government is sending money for rural development with support from ministers, MPs, the President, the Prime Minister and others. But if that money ends up in the hands of people who are corrupt, greedy and only care about taking commissions or bribes, nothing will happen. That money will just go to waste. That's why we are asking you to vote for the compass.
Before the ballot.
Thousands across the US protest again.
The stage is set, the excitement is real, and the journey to discover Sri Lanka's next singing sensation of Shakti Crown is officially underway.
Shakti Crown.
Shakti Crown Season 2 auditions continue today with lots of excitement. Today's auditions were held at the Kandy City Centre. Many hopefuls gave it their best, trying to impress the judges and take one more step towards their dream. But the journey is not over yet. Tomorrow we head to the Mahatma Gandhi International Centre in Matale, where more new voices will be heard and more dreams will begin. This is your chance to shine. Don't miss it.
ஒன்றா ரெண்டாசைகள் எல்லாம் சொல்லவே ஒரு நாள் போதுமா.
Opponents of US President Donald Trump's administration have taken to the streets across the United States to decry what they say are threats to the nation's democratic ideals, including deportations of immigrants and mass firings of government workers.
Known as 50-51, for 50 protests, 50 states and one movement. The demonstrations were intended to coincide with the 250th anniversary of the start of the American Revolutionary War.
We are here to fight for democracy. We are here to fight for each other.
The protests come just 2 weeks after similar nationwide protests against the Trump administration drew thousands of participants.
The fear I see every day in my students. I've had many that stop coming with all the deportations, with everything that's happening, whether or not they have legal status or don't.
Trying to cut things that we need, Social Security, Medicaid. I mean, his cuts are ridiculous.
This is a really great way to take the demonstration that we're doing and be able to make a difference in the community with it.
I wrote, the Constitution doesn't swipe left or right.
There are a myriad of reasons why we're here. And for the most part, we're here because we have young kids and we want a safer world for them.
Organizers said they are protesting against what they view as Trump's violations of civil rights and the U.S. Constitution, including efforts to deport hundreds of immigrants and scale back the federal government by firing thousands of government workers and, in effect, shutter entire agencies.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Also in news making headlines tonight, the Bangladeshi police has submitted a request to the Interpol seeking a red notice against 12 individuals, including ex-Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina.
The National Central Bureau of Bangladesh Police has submitted a request to the Interpol seeking a red notice against 12 individuals, including ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Foreign media reports suggest that the National Central Bureau processes such requests based on appeals from courts, public prosecutors or investigating agencies. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, 77 years old, has been living in India since the 5th of August last year when she fled Bangladesh following a massive student-led protest that toppled her Awami League's 16-year regime. In November last year, the Chief Prosecutor's Office of the International Crimes Tribunal also formally asked the police headquarters to seek Interpol's help in arresting Hasina and others identified as fugitives. On the 21st of January, Bangladesh's interim government said it will continue its efforts to bring deposed Hasina back from India and will seek international intervention if necessary.
The Sri Lankan contingent that competed at the 6th Asian Youth Athletics Championships held in Saudi Arabia returned to Sri Lanka.
Sri Lankan athletes secured a total of 8 medals, including 1 gold, 3 silver and 4 bronze at the 6th Asian Youth Athletics Championships held in Saudi Arabia. However, a matter of concern arose regarding Sri Lanka's non-participation in the girls' 1,500-meter event.
This issue did not affect only Sri Lanka. It impacted several other countries as well. We have taken note of all irregularities and our manager and 3 coaches who were present fulfilled their responsibilities to the best of their ability. We will conduct a full inquiry upon returning to Sri Lanka to determine the exact circumstances surrounding this incident. On the first day of the championship, the organizers themselves were unclear about the exact timing of the event. I want to make it clear that we were present on time. This was not the fault of any of our officials or athletes. The blame lies entirely with the event organizers.
I asked twice or thrice and was told the race would be at 6:25 p.m. We warmed up and prepared accordingly. It was only afterward that we were informed the call room time was 6:10 p.m. I was heartbroken. I felt like I didn't want to continue in this sport anymore. I cried a lot. There was nothing I could do. All we asked for is justice. And that's a wrap of your news for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night and take care.